Beyond.
Beyond.
There it is. All right, welcome everybody to Podcast Beyond, episode 83. 8 triple.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. How's everybody
The
doing?
Ocho trip.
Ocho trip.
Ocho Tripo.
Ocho Trace.
Ocho trip.
Yeah. So today we've got Ryan Clements.
Hey.
What's up? Jeff Haynes. How it do?
Yay.
Sam Bishop.
Hello.
The Bishop, as you are otherwise known.
That's the greatest nickname. I am the
It's
bishop.
Welcome.
Greg is not with us today. He has traveled back home. From what I understand, friends of his bought their local wings place, and so he went to eat free food.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
Wait,
And of all the
really?
free foods
Yeah.
out there.
That's the
cool?
reason he's going home.
Yeah.
That's a really good reason.
Yeah, I know, but still.
So it's pretty good one. So,
Seeing
so
wings out?
with that said, let's get right into the show with the Roper Report.
Time for some news. That's right, I can accompany myself.
That was a pause for dramatic effect that turned out kind of weird. But anyway,
It was still funny, though.
let's see. Today's news: Army of Two 40th Day, otherwise known as Army of Two 2.
Army of Two.
Hence the ballet reference I made a couple weeks ago.
Indeed.
That Jeff was hit.
Now, is it called, the subtitle is
Army
just
of
the
Two
40th
the
day?
40th Day? Yes,
So it's Army of Two : 40th day?
or maybe dash, but one of the two.
Because
Colon.
this is the one time that I officially sanction the use of a colon in a title.
Very good.
Because it makes sense.
Normally you hate it.
Normally it drives me nuts. There's so many colons.
Drives you
in
into a blind rage.
titles. Yes.
Blind murderous rage.
That is my blind
Stabbing
murderous
hobos
rage.
on the way home.
Yep.
I understand.
So you know, so that game's coming out soon. We'll have, but we'll have something on it very soon. So stay tuned to the site for that.
Yay.
And it's actually coming out on PSP too, which
Yeah.
is rather
You
shocking.
mean PSP 1?
PSP also.
Or also.
Yeah, there you go.
Indeed.
No confusion.
No confusion there.
Oh no!
Jeff has seen PSP too. Oh my
Just
god.
start the bomb.
Let's see what else is on here. Activision has apparently trademarked, or I guess trademarked, Sing Hero, which seems to be the competition for SingStar, which is weird to me because you can sing in Guitar Hero World Tour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I wonder
I
if they're-
don't know
yeah.
why they would basically chop off part. I don't know.
If it had like a built-in vocoder, that would be the most amazing thing. Though.
Yeah.
If you could be like,
I got my life down. Or I have my down.
that was me trying to do a vocoder sound without even having one available to me.
There you go.
I think I did a pretty
Indeed.
good job.
There is a versus mode coming for Resident Evil 5. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll be able to pick that up
Costs
tomorrow
money.
on Friday the 13th. We'll be able to play versus mode. It's going to be downloadable, so it'll come out later. It's not in the box or anything. NBC is now on the PlayStation Network, which means that you can watch The Office on your PS3.
Yes.
Very good. We're all happy about that
Paying
one.
Shroot
That was a
bucks
big
for
holdout.
Shroot episodes.
That's right. Rage, id Software's Rage, highly anticipated technical good looker. is,
Hey, good looking.
I didn't put that sentence together before I started saying it. But it apparently is not coming out in 2009.
Oh.
Sad faces all around. But, as always, when it's done. But in good news for release dates, Infamous is coming out in June.
Yay!
We're all happy about that one. And perhaps Ryan Clements' favorite news of the week.
Is it really?
Blaze Blue is coming to the U.S. in the summer.
I thought we kind of knew that already. Though.
Well, we did, but this is news from last week.
Oh,
And so,
yeah. It came out after the
Exactly.
podcast.
Exactly.
That's right.
So there you go.
Yes.
Covering the bases.
Yes.
Covering all of them.
All encompassing.
Yeah. Trying to get everybody equal news opportunity thing here.
Exactly.
Everybody that gets announced is on the
Fox
show.
is an
Not
equal
really.
news opportunity employer.
That's right.
Word.
There
Or
you go.
something.
So that's the end of the end of the news. Greg's not here, but I've heard there's a rumor that Jeff is going to be able to help us out and tell us what games are on stores this week.
That's right, because I have the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors.
Pow!
Exactly.
I like the little kapow at the end. It reminds me of Kelly Kapowski.
Indeed.
Oh, Kelly Kapowski.
Very nice. Anyway, this is a very, very slow week for PlayStation all around because the PSP has nothing.
Oh.
The PS2 has
Yay.
nothing.
Oh.
The PS3 gets Resident Evil 5.
Well, that's a pretty big one, though,
That-
for
that
at
is
least
pretty
the
big.
PS3.
Indeed.
Considering that it's the regular and the collector's
Now, are you
edition.
sure that you actually went and found the list? Because maybe there were games coming out.
No,
You looked.
I
okay.
looked.
So there's no games. So pick of the week, I think, is going to have to be Resident Evil by default.
Yeah.
No, I think nothing has to be
I'm
the pick
thinking
of the week.
So, well, there you go.
No.
Pick of
what
the week
about-
is your backlog.
Yeah. What about PSN news? We know anything coming
Yeah,
out this week?
actually, Zombie Blognet kicked over quite a bit. The latest issue of Core is coming out today, which has got stuff on Burnout Paradise and LVP and a few other things.
Core of the Earth.
Red Baron comes out today, which is rather random. There's going to be a couple new Buzz packs. Here's a big one. Sackboy's going to Hot Shots Golf.
Oh yeah,
That's downloadable.
Yay.
That's pretty rad.
There's also going to be Astro Tripper and Buzz Jr. Jungle Party available for download. But
Astro
that's
Tripper?
$5.
I am going to
That's right,
make
they
a
are making
hip hop
those.
group with the name Astro Tripper, and I'm going to be the frontlining act in Astro Tripper.
What's your MC name gonna be?
DJ Astro Tripper.
The Astro Tripper.
Wow.
You're-
DJ Astro Tripper, the Astro Trippers.
You've lost all creativity
That
so far.
failed.
It's already spent. The name, that was it.
Epic fail.
So there you go. Trophy
Or
tips.
epic win.
Does anybody have any good tips? I got a pretty good one here. Trophy tip pick of the week. I guess
of the
like we
week?
did this last week. I remember Sam, if you were here last week. Basically, every week we're for people that didn't listen to last week's show, we're going to call out the game that does the easiest trophies kind of stuff to get on there.
Yes.
Trivial Pursuit is a winner on this one, I think.
Yeah.
I've been playing that game. Basically, you can get a lot of trophies for doing not so much work. Here's my tip to you: is especially on the PS3 one is. If you press the PS button in the middle, bring up the cross media bar, it pauses the game. Although, as a little note, when you do it, if there's a notification that somebody's coming on or offline or whatever, then it doesn't pause. So, when you hit it and you go to Wikipedia to look up all your answers, make sure it actually pauses. But you can, here's another one is the game will automatically save after a question is done, and it gives you all the points and stuff. So if you get a question wrong and you hit the cross media bar thing, it'll pause before it saves, and then you can quit out and go load your save again.
Just
Whatever.
reload it, dummy.
Because there's you get trophies. One of the hardest trophy, the one that takes the longest period of time, is going around, and I'm not going to bother to explain the mode, but there's a clear the board mode, which is single player, and you can only answer each question once. And so
right.
you need to go around and meticulously answer every single question on the board to get all the stuff, and being able to pause and look up the answer online helps out a lot. And if you do that, you're going to get a good third of the trophies. You get another third from playing like another mode that's pretty easy. You can play with yourself and basically make yourself lose and win and whatever. And you can get a bunch of stuff that way. I mean, all the trophies are self-explanatory, but so if you want a bunch, then do that. I'm like 3 trophies away from getting to platinum.
Which leads me to believe that they just kind of assumed everyone was going to do that anyway, because some of those questions it's Trivial Pursuit, so they're pretty nuts. Like,
Yeah.
Some of that stuff is.
They do have I Can Has cheeseburgers.
They do.
That is true.
They
And that
reference
is awesome.
They reference Lolcats and they reference
Cheeseburgers.
Chuck Norris.
Oh,
Okay.
Really?
And there was a question about Maynard from Tool in there, so I was a big fan.
hey.
So there we go.
You win.
Yeah, it was good.
Trivia tip.
Just the trivia tip. Does anybody else have anything to add to this thing? This segment? Just the tip. No, we're good.
No.
Let's get on with topic of the week then.
Topic of the week.
Announcing.
So, as most people should know, I would assume is, or give or take, basically, GDC is next week,
Yay!
otherwise known as the Game Developers
Well,
Conference.
the following week. It doesn't actually start until the week
It's-
after.
What, 23rd through
Yeah,
20?
it's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm off by a week. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's soon.
Eh.
Do you want to still
And,
do the GDC
no, yeah,
topic?
we'll-
All
Well,
right.
we're going to be so busy next week anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. So we'll talk about GDC.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, my timing is all off. Anyway, GDC
You're
is
just
coming
that
up.
much, you're that prepared.
That's what I'm saying.
You were so ahead of
I'm going
things.
to go to the show next week anyway. Hang out. just to make
Just
sure.
walk down the Moscone Center.
Moscone Center.
Check out some car show
Have all
or
the stories already written and done.
dentist convention.
So there you go. But so GDC is in
Baby
What up,
convention.
opticians?
I guess a week and a half now.
Do you remember the
Yes.
baby convention when I was
Baby
looking up that
convention,
stuff?
yes.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That's
what?
very good.
They had a baby convention at the Moscone Center
That's-
last year.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
Or maybe it was planned for this
No,
year.
no, it was for E3.
Oh,
Remember,
for
you were trying to
E3.
figure out what
Yeah,
E3
yeah,
was going to
yeah.
be.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
baby convention in June, I think it is, down at the LA Convention Center. So if you want to go to
Yeah.
baby convention, then there you go.
Baby Con 2009.
Baby con.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Get
Anyway.
your baby on.
Baby con.
Bye-bye sci-fi con.
Yeah. So anyway, so GDC is in 9 days, whatever it is. 11 days. Who's counting?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's days
it also
away.
depends on what time you listen
It's
to this podcast.
days.
Indeed.
Anyway, so going back to the beginning of the year, we did our little 3 predictions for the year, keeping count, see who's going to do whatever. One of my predictions was that by the end of March, Sony will drop the price of the PS3. I still say it's going to happen in GDC. Sam and I were talking about this earlier, and
Yes, we were.
Sony does not have any sort of formal press conference or anything at the show, so it would come out via just a press release. I think. Basically, what Sony's doing at the shows, they have last year they had a gamers lounge where there's or
Bloggers
yeah,
lounge.
it was bloggers lounge,
Yeah.
where you go in and play a bunch of different games and blog and stuff from there. And they had a nice little Wi-Fi connection you could use, and they're doing the same sort of thing here. So there's going to be a handful of games on display. Sony doesn't even know quite yet exactly what they're going to be, and except for 1 or 2, I don't know if we can say what they are yet. But anyway. I imagine there's going to be a plethora of PSN stuff. So look for updates on a bunch of those games.
That's kind of how it was set last time too.
Plethora,
so.
yeah.
Plethora.
But so anyway,
It's
at the same hotel too.
yeah. If there are announcements, it sounds like it'll just come out as a press release.
Yeah.
And I would assume that it would be that Monday morning of the 23rd or whatever the day that is.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, and I say there will be a price drop. I think it's going to go to $299. I think we'll hear about it that Monday morning. And like I was telling Sam this morning, it seems to make sense to me because if Sony has a bunch of sessions at the show which talk about developing for PSN and getting on there and SPU all this kind of crap, right? Mm-hmm. And you figure if Sony comes out Monday morning and says, "Bam, price is $100 lower," whatever they do, then you have developers go, "Ooh, maybe I should think about PSN or PS3 now." Now I'll go to these sessions, check in, So I think that'll help, drive interest to the sessions.
And it rolls whatever good news is going to come out of the show. If they start with that, then everything else on there is just going to be icing. On that dark cheaper cake.
And I know.
Dark cheaper cake.
Nintendo is hosting the keynote, I believe, and so Iwata's talking at it.
Yep.
So you figure Nintendo's going to make some sort of announcement going on there. So this would be Sony's little way of Monday morning saying here's some business. People are going into Microsoft's thing, going into Nintendo's thing, standing in line, talking about the PS3 news. I think it's a pretty cool thing. It's a nice little diversionary technique.
Yeah, and typically if a company winds up doing something like this during the beginning of the show, everybody winds up essentially forgetting what everybody else winds up bringing out anyway, because it's like, hey, they're dropping the price, or hey, this is a huge bombshell, and that's all everybody starts worrying about and focusing on. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether or not Nintendo goes, hey, we've got this incredible new motion sensor that actually reads your eyeballs. I mean, like, they won't care because there'll be this huge thing about this price
If that
drop.
happened, that would be awesome. And I would
I would be so down with that.
I don't know what it would do.
Extremely awesome.
To be honest, I'm
happen.
psyched. I actually want to see what Iwata's thing is going to be all about. Like, I do want to find out if they're going to talk about something interesting.
No,
you don't think so?
No. I think it'll be
talk about Wii Sports Plus or whatever the frig it's called, Resort.
Yeah, well, at Dice they had, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the little kind of scrapbook application they made. It works for the DSi. You can you draw pictures and you can make flipbook animations and all kinds of stuff like that.
What is that called?
I can't remember the name offhand, but that seemed pretty cool, and it seemed like a very community-oriented thing, kind of like Little Big Planet, sort of, where people will make things and share them online and all that kind of stuff. So I could see that kind of being the focus of his talk and about community-driven content.
The last 2 years it's been all community.
Yeah.
So Harrison's thing was like that. Microsoft was like that last year. So that makes sense.
It seems to make sense. Which means you figure, I don't know if this is part of if there's like a deal or if they trade or whatever, but Sony was 2 years ago. Then last year was Microsoft. This year's Nintendo. So I wonder if next year will be Sony again. And then,
which would be really interesting.
That begs to say, what are they going to announce? Little Big Planet 2 next year?
That's true. That was the darling.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, back to this year's show. At GDC, there are, and again, I don't know if we can say exactly what games are going to be there. We do have some.
Idea.
No, appointments. I was looking for the word appointments. I was back on techniques again.
Oh, man.
Anyway, but we have some appointments to see some games. So there will be some game news coming out of the show, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Some pretty good stuff. And but aside from that, I mean, people don't normally show a whole lot on the show floor. There's usually PC heavy stuff. Crytek is showing off CryEngine 3.
That's right.
Yes.
And that is going to be on all systems.
That's right. Next gen, including next gen, as in the generation after now. So they're prepping now for PS4 or
Xbox
720 or whatever the heck.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Which,
I don't know.
But it's cool because at the very least, like you have a sense that they're trying to make sure that the engine is future proof. On the other hand, if you're looking at some of the stuff, you're also going like, thank God I've got a console, because if I had a PC, dear God, what would that rig have to be to run some of these games? Because Crytek is usually incredibly powerful.
A lot of people still can't run Crysis.
They can't run Crysis.
You would actually need a small fusion reactor built into your PC.
Dr. Brown's coming.
You probably would. 1.21 gigawatts solely to run like one cutscene.
Great Scott. But anyway, so there will definitely be some
something have you done for your kids?
So there will definitely be some news coming out of the show, game related. So definitely some stuff you guys want to check out. But Ryan, what do you think? Are we going to see anything unknown, I guess, at the show so far? Do you think it would be anything cool?
Oh, like when I went last year, there really wasn't anything interesting. Even the giant Square Enix conference that I went to that I thought like might have something really exciting. The only thing they ended up talking about was their new internal development engine, that Crystal Tools. I forgot the official name, but it had Crystal in it. That's really all they talked about, and it wasn't really anything that would interest gamers because it was all more from a programming perspective.
Fancy concept art.
I mean, yeah, if they were to announce something, that would be really cool, but that's the only thing I really had a first-hand experience with.
I will say that during, I can't remember the name of the session, but one of the sessions has 3 big-name developers in it. I believe Suda51 is one of them, but Ueda is in said session.
Sweet.
And
That's a good combo right there, just those 2.
Yeah, I forget who the third guy is. Hopefully, I know it's somebody big.
You're not in the mindset yet.
I'm not in the mindset, but
we got a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. See,
Yeah,
it's good. It's good that it was a week later than I thought it was.
Exactly.
Because I'm getting there, but anyway. But he doesn't come out from working very often, and so you got to figure he's going to say something cool. Yeah. So I don't know if they'll make an announcement during the session or whatever. But you figure at least there would be.
In the past, so.
Yeah, but you figure at least there would be hints as to what kind of direction the next game is going in based on what he's talking about there. So
who did you say it was Suda51 and who?
And Ueda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So. Maybe we'll see the next Team Eco project, or some hints of it.
Or
at least.
just talking in abstract terms about whatever it's going to be about,
which is entirely possible. I mean, like, because I remember last year, some of the guys that were like from the Liverpool studios were talking about Wipeout, and they were talking about like what they were doing with Fusion and everything else, and they pretty much alluded to Wipeout HD.
There you go.
And so every now and then, like you'll find like little snippets here or there, where you'll find a little something. It's not necessarily like the conference where you wind up getting the biggest amount of news, like,
which is the idea.
Which is the primary thing, because it's not really focused on press or anything else. It really is designed for developers, people that are trying to get into the industry, people that are in the industry, sharing techniques and everything else. So every now and then you'll get something where somebody's going like, hey, I use this, and this is actually going to be a really big feature with an upcoming game that we're going to do. Can't tell you that much, but it's going to do this, and everybody goes, okay, well, just going off of basic signs, we know you're working on this, so it's most likely going to be this title or this project or something else. And that's how you start getting like some of the news that kinds of slipping out. And then every now and then you'll see some new project, some new game, or some demo that has been waited for to actually been showed.
Yeah,
Chris Roper just took my picture.
I did.
Why?
I'm uploading it to Twitter.
Yeah.
So people can see that we're actually grading the podcast now.
Although the one thing that I am like slightly interested in finding out is what Kojima's going to say, because everybody knows that he's been working on a couple different things, even though he keeps saying he's getting away from Metal Gear. All of a sudden, Metal Gear Touch comes out.
Been saying that for 10 years,
or gets announced. And so there's this whole thing about like, could something else wind up coming out? Could there be a Zone of the Enders? Could there be, Police Knots? Could there be?
Do you understand how much I would
else?
want a Police Knots or Snatcher or something? I want Cyberpunk, a really good Cyberpunk game to come out. So bad it hurts.
I would love it, and there are moments like
pain. Right.
There are these moments when I've asked him about it in the past, he's kind of had just like this little sparkle in his eye. So there's this moment where it's like, are you thinking about bringing this, or are you not?
Yeah,
what
if
are you
they
doing?
did, oh man, if they did Snatcher next gen, it'd blow my mind.
It would be the absolute best.
Mind blowed.
The absolute best announcement.
What would be the best
for GDC if they just canceled Home?
Man! Wait a second!
Years.
Whoa! The lone supporter of Home on the podcast just tried to shove a stake in it. Wow, what's going on here, Ryan?
Not at all. I think that would easily be the funniest possible thing that could ever happen at GDC, is if years after they finally just canceled it. It'd be pretty funny.
Are you just not feeling it anymore?
Well, no. I mean, I don't really care. I'm just saying it would be funny. I'm saying that would be high comedy.
That would be the best.
Right there. That would be the best.
That would be the best.
Now, here's kind of an interesting thing. If you go and you look at the sessions for GDC, you'll notice that there are a whole lot of iPhone-centric sessions going on in this thing. Like, there's a good dozen or so. Yeah. And so people are, obviously there are a lot of people getting success and stuff with the App Store. And it seems to me if developers are going and creating these smaller apps, they're going to be turning their eyes also towards things like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network and stuff like that, and WiiWare. And so, there's been trends going towards that in the past few years where people are talking more and more about this. Sony, again, this year is talking about getting published on PSN and publishing your own content and stuff like that, which is great.
Yeah, they actually unveiled that whole what is it, Beyond Initiative or whatever they called it, or was it
the Beyond?
Yeah, was it
Beyond?
Beyond? See,
but so it's interesting. I think that if you gotta think that if people are actually jumping on the iPhone bandwagon and creating a bunch of games for it, how that might influence Sony for the PSP2.
Yeah.
And will that change things? Like, there's always the rumors going around that PSP2 has a touchscreen and stuff like that, which would make, especially if Sony supported the same sort of libraries that Apple's using for the iPhone, so it becomes a very easy port over to it. Then now you've got, Apple and Sony are competitors in some fashion, especially with music players and stuff like that. But in the terms of the game realm, it seems like Sony could gain a lot from kind of adapting some of the stuff that Apple's done and making cross-platform stuff go both ways. I think that'd be a really cool, smart move for them.
Especially because the DS is obviously like touchscreen and everything else, so that would be 2 out of the 3 large players in kind of a portable sense. Like essentially waiting for Sony to jump in with something that would have some kind of tactile feedback or anything else, but also because the explosion of digital distribution is starting to grow. It's full explosions. I mean,
what did you just say?
Explosions of fire.
But sounded like something else.
So my favorite lyrical intro to any song, probably it's in my top 10 at least, is there's I don't remember what record it was. I haven't listened to it forever, but there's one of the Presidents of the United States of America songs starts out at the beginning is just explosions and fire, and then the thing continues. And I'm like, dude, that's great.
Perfect.
Great first line.
Well, that shows you though how ubiquitous the iPhone has become. That it used to be about mobile sessions before, and that terminology has almost been dropped now. I mean, it's still thrown out there as like the official title for stuff, but most of the stuff is going toward that. And, and the
because
App Store
nobody
and the way
else
it's
like
all
winds
set
up programming essentially for a lot of other phones because it's like, we'll throw that off to like that carrier. But a lot of it's just like, dude, there's more than 6,000, or I think the last report I saw online was like there's more than 6,000 like games by themselves for the iPhone in like a month or something, and it was like, holy crap, you got to be kidding.
Granted, 5,992 of those are probably pretty terrible.
Yeah, now here's the thing too: is publishing for the iPhone. There's so many apps. There's the last month or so ago, there's 15,000, whatever.
Right.
That when you put something on there, it gets lost very easily unless you do a very good job of promoting it. Having that sort of tie-in, like I was talking about, to the PSP2, and you have a retail, or downloadable release or whatever for that system, and it also is on the iPhone, then you have people that are saying, hey, I'm seeing all these sites report on it for PSP2. I don't have that, but I have the iPhone. Let me go get it for there. So you have developer interest in that sort of thing, where promoting for one thing will help you out with another one that's a little maybe harder to promote for, or or that money maybe is a little tighter for budgeting on that sort of thing.
Little crossover attention.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sort of crossover thing, if it's done correctly, is a massive thing that Sony would benefit hugely from if it was done correctly.
Yeah, I think to a degree, the other plus about like stuff like the iPhone is that depending upon whatever it is, one person or a small team of people can put out an application or a game really, really quickly, really, really easily. And I think that's one of the things that Sony's been trying to do, or trying to gather, are people that can work in a very small team, pump up something that's really, really good quality, and then put it out on the PSN. I mean, like Everyday Shooter and like Flow and everything else, like small teams coming up with a really good concept, putting something out and letting it go. So I think that's probably going to be one of the really big things, especially if you look at things like That Game Company, where for basically 2 years they've had a presence as far as like how you get something out digitally. So if you have that coming out as a really big push, that's going to really twist the direction of the industry in that way.
There's a lot of the scope of stuff that you have to do for a PS3 release tends to be a little bit bigger too, even though it is a PSN game. But if you have it where it's a portable offering, then I think that's a little bit more leeway to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if that's pretty much the only direction that Sony could go in right now as far as their online stuff, is have a PSP-centric store that actually has downloadable stuff catered toward the PSP that's in the same vein as what we get with PSN or PS3 version of PSN. So I mean that'd be perfect. Having 3 people working on something that actually was pretty cool,
like The Last Guy, maybe.
The Last Guy.
The last guy.
Number 1 in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Number 1 program.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other predictions they want to throw out there that you think Sony will do at the show, aside from
I
think
the
price
PS2
drop
might actually have a price drop too. It wouldn't be out of the realm.
That's not a bad guess.
Drop the PS2 also, like $30.
I think
down to that magic.
I think if the PS2 price drop, whenever it happens, if it ever does, because Sony doesn't seem to care anymore, is I think E3 is a good timeline for that, because then that gives you a way to talk about the PSP and the PS2 in the keynote.
Yeah, that's about the only bullet point they can come up with now, aside from we have Motorstorm.
That's true, but like the only reason why I'm thinking that they could possibly do it as like a 1-2 punch is just like drop it, and then like at E3 go, here we go, we're just gonna roll out bundles, just like the whole Justice League bundle. It's like we're gonna just roll out bundles with the PS2, and hey, you've got 4,000 or 5,000 or however many thousands of games, if you count backwards compatibility, that you can access.
Yeah,
I think it'd be pretty cool to have like a build your own bundle set up. where they have a list of titles, and you just go, okay, I want the system now.
So it's
And
basically the same way that launches work at GameStop and stuff like that.
bingo, exactly. But then it's officially sanctioned by Sony, and it's
maybe you
available
get it
for
through the
everything. And
Sony
then
store or something?
exactly. And so you take titles that are $20 or whatever, and just lump them all together as you get 3 of them with the system for the same
and you pick
cost
whatever
as
you
the
want.
system. Exactly. And you have just a laundry list of stuff, and you go, I want that one, that one, that one, and then okay.
You could also do
the
it the way
greatest hits, yeah.
doing that online and kind of ordering and stuff makes it take a little bit longer, so people will get their systems a little bit later. But what you could do is a nice way to do that is order the system, and in the thing comes a order sheet for said number of games or you get credit for it or whatever else.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's true. They got to keep brick and mortar places happy. But if you had like a ticket or something, you could just take to them and be like, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Here are your games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
if they made it
instant gratification.
That'd be
that's
pretty
not
good.
a bad idea. Yeah, you print out your ticket from online, take it to the store, you immediately get credit, you just
Automatically
pick it
get
up.
Yeah,
that's a
that
good
would be
idea.
that would be kind of huge. In some ways, that would also like kind of revolutionize how exactly people buy systems. Because if
Yeah.
you automatically get that, it's almost like the movie tickets that you can like print out at home, automatically walk over.
It's
and boom,
you
there
can
go.
kind of do that now with just the way that like Best Buy has it set up, where you purchase something
In-store
online and just walk
pickup.
to the store. Yeah. So I mean,
Right,
that
but-
there is an infrastructure there, at least in part. So
Right, but all you have to do
Kinda
is work with like the GameStops and everything else.
I'm gonna steal it.
I'm in your building stealing your codes.
Stealing your in-store pickups.
any infrastructures.
All right, well, let's get on with the show then. Let's hit up.
Boss.
We got a lot of read 'em out to get to this
Read
week,
'em out?
so
Oh, do we?
time
Milk
for
man?
some-
Milk off?
Mouse drum,
Mel bag? Alpha male?
Alpha male.
Male
female.
pattern baldness.
Our first piece of mail
Milk-
comes from Rob Van Fan. He says, "Has any of you guys
What's up, Rob?
have any of you guys at IGN played the UFC 2009 game? From the looks of it, the game doesn't look very good, or the gameplay doesn't look very good, and I'm scared of one of my most anticipated games that, out this gen will turn out bad. Any idea when it'll come out?" So I have only seen UFC as of last E3.
I'm sorry, you saw that
Yeah,
like all the capture
but it
footage
looked
and stuff?
awesome.
Yeah.
And the people that have seen it since then also are saying that it's good. Maybe not mind-blowingly good, but very, very strong.
Yeah.
I think if you're a UFC fan, this game will definitely do you justice. So I think
have any of the
I'm
other ones been?
not saying it's gonna be awesome when it comes out,
Right.
but I'm saying what we've seen so far has seemed like it's pretty good. So yeah, I mean,
Pieces are there.
yeah, the pieces are
It's just
definitely
that
there.
They all kind of get fit together. Right?
Yeah, the tech looks really good, so yeah, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Havoc7 writes in and says, "What is the deal with the PS3 version of Red Alert 3? Can we use a keyboard and mouse, or is it strictly DualShock?" Jeff Haynes.
There is no keyboard and mouse. It is
Wah,
strictly
wah.
DualShock. However, the DualShock has a number of keyboard or keypad command shortcuts that allow you to pretty much do everything that you could do on a keyboard.
So there you go.
Yeah.
RJDJ_01 says, Need for Speed Shift looks amazing, like it rivals Grid in the graphics department. I hope it turns out awesome. What is your opinion on it? So I played it
Awesome
for good.
sauce.
Yeah, I played it for a good 45 minutes a couple weeks ago, and so far it is awesome.
Yeah.
Basically, so the demo that I played was very bare bones in terms of options and things like that. So basically, you just had a really placeholder menu. You pick your car, pick your track, change difficulty and stuff like that, and jump into the race. So that whole presentation aspect wasn't there. And what I'm told is that presentation stuff will be what ties it into the Need for Speed universe. Because otherwise, you would not tell this is a Need for Speed game. And for me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because that series has needed kind of a change. And, I mean, when I was playing Shift for that, 45 minutes or whatever it was, I was like, this game is rad.
Yeah.
The little bit that I could play of it, 2 tracks, 6 cars, was awesome. Handled really well. Sounds absolutely amazing. The way that the cockpit is simulated in the game, your guy goes forward and backwards, and it blurs if you hit something. And if you're at the starting line, you're revving the engine, your car will kind of tilt back
That's
and
so
forth.
awesome.
It's so well done that I'm really looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be awesome. So, and again, I only saw like a little tiny piece. Just got to play for a little bit, but from that part there, they wanted to just let us play the core driving part. That was the main thing they wanted to get across. Here's how the game drives.
actual game.
The actual driving element, as opposed to all this other crap that would normally gets pitched with racing games, stuff like that. They just want us to race it, and that part was awesome. So I'm very, very much looking
It's
forward to
pretty
this
cool.
game.
I mean, that rarely happens especially with the Need for Speed game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's about the whole presentation, the whole experience that they're
Yeah.
trying to cram in there. So
yeah, no,
Back to basics.
Yeah, so
The
far,
scantily clad models.
with that, yes,
Scantily
that's right.
clad
That's right.
models being the
There needs
race
to be
people.
babbage.
Yeah.
Rogue Leader says, any chance of a new Twisted
Stay on
Metal this
target.
year? David Jaffe was supposedly working on a new one, wasn't he? It's been far too long since the last game. I think that, there's no news, obviously, but I think that would be a great E3 announcement.
Yep.
I would be kind of surprised if it isn't announced.
There's been a lot of hints dropped and there's been random stuff that's been
ton of it.
shatter.
And it would be the kind of game where old PlayStation fans who haven't quite got to the PS3 yet and kind of were like, we'll wait and see what happens. That would be one of those other, check marks on the board that was like, here's, reason to get new Twisted Metal. So that could be very good.
Check.
Yep. Pseudo Prime 1979 writes in. He says, with GDC right around the corner, do you enjoy the fact that it has turned into a place for press and game announcements, or do you lament that it is no longer purely a conference where game developers can share ideas without whoring their upcoming games?
For the most part, I don't think that developers are whoring out their stuff.
No.
It's been kept, to their credit, they've kept it still about developers. I don't like the fact that it has become sort of a press stop for us, because that just kind of perpetuates the whole cycle of pumping up stuff that they don't really need to.
Right.
But for the most part, it's still the game developers conference. It's not really for us, and they are clear about that.
So there is, obviously probably almost everybody that's listening to this has never been at GDC before because it's a developers type thing. But there is a very hard separation between games presentation and the sessions that are going on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single person that goes to this thing has nothing to do with, maybe they worked on it, but they have no direct correlation to how their game is being shown and all that. They're basically just ignoring it and going to sessions and carrying on like normal. And there's a show floor that's kind of off to the side. And people go in there and see stuff. They'll see new engines and all that kind of stuff, and that it's pretty cool to browse around there.
Yeah, there's some really cool little tech demonstrations.
Yeah, but the appointments that we have and all that kind of stuff, that's totally separate from the sessions that are happening.
Yeah, they're external, and usually, like even when you wind up going there, it's like you might have one game, or there might be like one or two things that one publisher like EA might show. It's not
a lot of publishers show just a couple games.
Yeah, you're not getting a blitz. It's not even close to like E3 where you've got like 20 or 30 games.
This year,
in
they're
one
kind
area.
of some publishers are piggybacking off of it and doing stuff in hotels nearby.
Yeah,
Right.
But as far as the actual thing itself, it's
separate,
which is awesome because at least for guys like me, I totally geek out on that stuff. I may not understand it completely. In fact, most of the time I don't. But being able to go in and sit in on these sessions and listen to these guys talk about it, just without dumbing it down and pitching it straight to the other people who are making games, it's just awesome to be able to be a fly on the wall for that whole process.
I agree. Devilator says, will Incognito be making Warhawk 2? It would be stupid as hell if they did not.
Yeah.
I don't know how they couldn't. That game is still really, really good. Still being played
honestly,
a ton.
like they're probably going to make it. It will be years down the road because Dylan and his team have got a number of ideas on what they're going to do with Warhawk still, and they've got at least a couple of different expansion packs in the works right now.
Here's my prediction.
Jeez.
Maybe not actual gameplay, but some sort of CG teaser for Warhawk 2 D3.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty fair bet. I mean, it'll be one of those things, sort of like Mag, where they show it and then they don't tell you anything else about it, and it's real. It's just like, hey, guess what? It's coming eventually, maybe 2 years, whatever. But Warhawk 2 in development.
You know what got me all geeked out was seeing the Battlefront 3 footage that was out there, and the whole idea of going from the planet all the way out into space and doing combat that way.
Yeah.
If they do that for Warhawk, that will be a proper explosion to the whole scale that they worked on. And I would freak.
I think it's still a little too early to even see something about Warhawk 2, but I think you might see possibly an expansion pack or two at E3. That's entirely possible.
Well, there you go. Fox RMF says, if you all shaved the same day, whose beard would grow quickest?
Oh, good question.
That's a good question. I think it's either Ryan or I.
It's got it. Yeah, definitely one of you two.
Yeah.
Not me. That's for sure.
And it's not Greg.
No.
You will admit that straight up.
I think Greg and I are the running for the slowest growing facial hair.
Like in the long run, like it gets longer, or is it like kind of comes a shadow and then slowly grows? Like what are we talking about?
The actual beard, not the shadow. So the actual beard. I think here's what we'll do this year. At E3, let's both shave on going into the show. My wife doesn't like me to have beards or anything like that. But E3, so every year at E3, I just let it grow all week. I don't have time to shave anyway. But so at E3 this year, let's do this. Before we get on the plane, we'll shave, and then you and I will just let it go over the course of the week.
But I have not once in years used a blade to shave. I only trim my beard. I don't know if
you'll
I can
have to learn.
No.
All right, well,
I know how.
What is this? It's a really advanced concept.
It is an advanced technique.
Taking a stick in and rubbing it on your eyeball. I don't understand. It doesn't work.
I just shaved my head.
All right. Well,
Start out on your
here's
neck.
what we'll do then. We'll figure out equal footing. So if you want to start with a little bit of stubble, then I'll do that too. We'll just
All right.
make it equal, and then we'll go over the course of the week and see what happens.
We could take pictures and put it on the.
We'll do updated blogs. Probably on
Excellent.
Greg's blog.
Twitter.
'Cause He's the one that updates
Indeed.
it. Yeah.
It's
there
called
you go.
the
Beard
Quest for
update.
Grizzly Adams.
Yep. Chili Rainbow writes in. He says, "Beyond." He says,
Beyond.
"What do you guys think of Street Fighter 4's difficulty? He thinks Seth on easiest is ridiculously hard. I completely agree.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not a hardcore fighting fan, but I like Street Fighter a whole lot, and even
I don't know. He like preserves the whole like final fighting game boss is a total cheap douche, but
Here's the thing.
like
I
Super
can
over and over.
if you set that game to easiest and then you go through arcade mode with certain characters, you can pretty much get perfects all the
Oh, yeah.
time and
Yeah,
never
yeah.
have a problem because you can't play it like you would be playing a normal person. Because if you play it like you're playing a fighter, you'll play normally and the computer can just counter everything
Dude,
that
yeah,
you're
he
normally supposed to do.
interrupts all your stuff.
However, if you go into all those battles and all you do is you jump forward, do your heavy kick, then duck down and do a sweep over and over and over again, the computer just cannot do anything about it. It is still a trick that still works even on Seth on difficult or on easy. Like you can boom.
So the
Clear that with no
consensus
problem.
here is that Seth is super cheap, but you can beat him by being super cheap.
If
That's
you
right.
you can just be super cheap to get through arcade mode if you're interested in unlocking characters and stuff.
it's the Cobra Kai technique.
Yeah,
Just
there you
sweep
go.
the leg.
Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Sweep the leg. Yeah.
American Ninja 1 says, "What are the
Indeed.
chances of Left 4 Dead coming to the PS3? Do you think there'll be an announcement at GDC or E3 about it?" Valve, at least recently, and I don't think they ever will change this, does not have an in-house PS3 development team, whereas they have PC clearly, and they have in-house 360 guys.
I thought that they were looking for people.
They were,
They
but I don't
started
think it
bulking up on
was for something. I think it was for
Could
a
be just
completely
general
different project.
So there you go.
okay.
So
Half-Life.
Man, that would be awesome. The game is really good.
yeah, it is awesome.
Really good.
So unless EA decides that they want to, set a team aside to port it, then I don't know. I mean, apparently the game is selling really well, so it would be a nice little thing for them to do that. I guess when when sales start coming down a little bit, then they go, hey, we got PS3 coming out to kind of kick up the whole name brand for Left 4 Dead again. But I think the chances are slim.
Yeah.
Maybe 50-50 at most. But we'll see. I would love to see it come to the system.
Yep.
So there you go.
And then it'll run terribly and be broken like
Yeah.
Orange Box.
Yeah, there you go. Espionage says he's a big Metallica fan. He's looking forward to the upcoming release of Guitar Hero Metallica, which is super fun.
Yep.
He's
Very.
wondering if his Rock Band 2 drum set will work with Guitar Hero Metallica.
Yes.
Yes. Asterisk.
Yes, with the caveat.
There's a big asterisk on that one. So it works totally fine. Works the same way as it does with the Guitar Hero World Tour, where it takes away one of the drum notes. You're just playing the 4. That works totally fine. Now, the asterisk is that Guitar Hero Metallica comes with Expert Plus drum mode, which gives you double bass. And if you go pre-order the game at certain stores or whatever, you'll get the second drum pedal for free. Comes with a little Y adapter. The two drums just kind of hook together and goes into the thing. The Guitar Hero kick drums do not work with the Rock Band kit.
Yep.
So even if you just try to use one, the adapter doesn't matter.
Led to a little confusion. for
So
us.
yeah, there was a little bit of a problem. We were doing the preview for the game. So if you go and you get the second pedal, it will not work. So you will have problems playing Expert Plus unless you are have hydraulic legs. So or at least one hydraulic leg because you use one. Yeah. But so otherwise the pad works totally fine. So you can play the game totally fine. But if you're a drummer, like if you're a death metal drummer, you want to play double bass, you have to go get the actual proper Guitar Hero one.
My God, my Achilles heel, it's smoking.
And everyone deserves to try it at least once because it is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. It's a really crazy experience.
Yeah. Even if you
One
fail,
that will
in like
break
2
your brain.
seconds.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, you'll die. But
Man,
try it out.
You will die.
Sean 9986 says, back in 2008, Jeff gave Silent Hill Homecoming a low score mainly for the lack of scares. Yet Resident Evil 5 gets a 9 despite the reviewer saying it's not scary. He's curious why that is. He knows that we didn't do the Resident Evil 5, but he's curious to know why that happened.
It wasn't solely because it wasn't scary. There are a lot of other reasons why I gave it that score.
Also because,
But-
I mean, let's just admit to the readers, you don't actually know the difference between a 7 and a 9. Sometimes it gets mixed up in your head.
What was that, Mr. Folklore?
I know what a 9 means. That's why I
Anyway.
gave it to Folklore.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Well, here's the reasoning from my end. Although I haven't played Resident Evil yet, is that and this is just from judging from everybody says, Silent Hill was made to be a scary game.
Right.
And when it wasn't scary and had other problems, whatever, it fell apart, and there wasn't anything to, or there wasn't a whole lot to enjoy in that.
Right.
I'm not saying it was total trash, but there wasn't that catch for it was lost, and there was nothing else to fill its gap.
Right.
Resident Evil 5, the other Resident Evil games are supposed to be scary. This one is not, but the action is there.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of experience.
And 4 wasn't really that scary either, was it?
I think that part of the thing is that like 4 and 5 have essentially been evolving away from the entire thing of like cheap scares or even good scares into just like, here we go, we have an action situation, you're thrown in with like hordes of monsters coming at you that are semi-zombie, and you pretty much have like guns and it's just blowing them away and then reacting to whatever the hell is being thrown at you next.
Yeah.
It's not even the same kind of thing where like they're trying to establish a psychological sense where you're going, oh my god, what the hell's happening? Oh, what's going on? Holy crap, there's something around the corner, and that's where you get that charge. It's
Yeah.
more like, oh my god, I'm out of bullets. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And that's where the scare comes in.
So it's a different. So it doesn't have the scares. It's a different kind of game, but it's still good on different terms.
And it's an evolution of what was already done in RE4, which was obviously really, really good. Whereas with Silent Hill, it was a pretty big departure. I mean, the Silent Hill games before were not about fighting at all.
It was a
they
it
weren't
was a
about
large
combat.
departure.
They were about getting the hell away from whatever was chasing you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that might have been why Ryan and essentially Hill with the second take gave it the score that it got was
Ryan
because
Geddes, by the way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was because there was a certain level of depth, and because the focus of co-op, like even though there were a few issues, it wound up working, and you could do everything with another person and everything else. I think there were a lot of other issues or a lot of other elements that wound up adding up to that 9 as opposed to Silent Hill with what it supposedly tried to do, and it essentially wound up failing to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our last piece of reader mail that I have comes from Barry Putris, and he says, it's a mostly question for me, although Sam will definitely chime in on this one. He says, do you care if Gran Turismo 5 ends up having damage modeling? To me, it's about the racing, not the crashing. He plays Burnout for crashing. I am in agreement with that. If it doesn't have damage, I won't be too disappointed. I mean, I'll be sad on one level, but for my actual sit down on the couch and play the game, I'm not going to be very sad about it because I don't know. I'm fine with that. The reason that I would be disappointed is because at this point it's kind of a joke that Gran Turismo does so many things so incredibly well and yet does not have damage that every other game in existence has, even just cosmetic damage. So if the game comes out and it doesn't have it, then it's just going to kind of, it's going to be like the ugly girl who's super smart, but people don't bother going to talk to her because she's ugly.
Yeah, totally. Agree. Totally agree.
So
I'll still play it no matter what.
It's a great analogy. It works totally. It works totally right.
Sense.
No, but I totally agree. It sucks. It would really suck that if it didn't have anything, because it would also change the way you play the game a little bit. It wouldn't be quite as much bumper carring and stuff like that, which is still kind of prevalent, even with the online penalties and all that stuff. So yeah.
Ryan.
For all the smart girls out there, you're beautiful because you're smart.
There you go.
Oh,
Thank you.
See, and Gran Turismo is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you called it ugly, but it's smart. I'm saying that they're tied together.
You're beautiful.
That was Jeff. And then that was Sam killing himself.
So that's what I've got.
Oh God.
Jeff.
I did know.
Yes.
What do we have going on in the world of university sports and all that? I know that this week is the last update for one Mr. Little Balla.
Indeed. Little Balla's team lost last week
By
in
the way,
finals.
you still have 40 seconds, or 60 seconds, but I'm going to expand it. Little Baller gets a little count out because this is ending.
Okay, cool. Little Balla's team lost last week in the finals. He had 17 points, 5 assists, but he's heading to Germany on July 18th because he's trying to make it professionally as a Balla.
Oh,
So Big Balla could be
in Deutschland.
pro Balla.
Pro Balla.
But he wanted to also send out a shout out because one of their fans saw Beyond on the Shoes and has been listening to the podcast, made a sign promoting the podcast and Lil Balla.
Bam.
So he just
Beyond
wanted to
that
also,
guy.
Viral marketing.
Beyond to that guy, he also wanted to thank all of us for the support over the entire season.
Very good.
So anyway, into the university.
Good
This is
work,
going to be
man.
really quick. Only got a few. Number 1, Josh Pigott-Smith from Birmingham in the UK said that he's just started amateur boxing for a gym in Birmingham. He wants to become the official Beyond boxer and punch the crap out of people, bleep. And then Beyond, he's got the name on his gloves and he's trying to spread the Beyond love around. Ryan G.
10 seconds.
Ryan
That's more,
Geddes.
no, I've got more time than that. Ryan G wants to become the Beyond analyst psychiatrist and send out a Beyond Ghost Rat army. Landon wants to become the Beyond manager, and Ashley wants to become the Beyond hula dancer.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, Hula
Yes.
Dancer.
And she sent in a
Yes.
video.
Oh, I haven't seen the video.
Well, it's a cell phone video. It's really small,
Alright,
but
well.
That's right. I'm cool with
still.
that.
That's good. I like it. It's a little culture in the show.
That's right.
Exactly.
I will judge
There
it
you go.
according to the my dad's side of the family. Who's all out there.
I've been to Hawaii. I've seen the all that stuff. So
It's a good time.
So anyway, that was shorter than a minute.
no, it was longer than a minute, but I gave you the extension because Little Baller needed a proper send off.
Send-off.
Right.
Yeah, so there you go.
That would be pretty awesome.
Good luck, little baller, big baller.
Yeah.
Become pro baller.
Now,
Yes.
University.
getting to hit of the week. And somebody wrote in a week or two ago and doesn't know what hit of the week was. A little explanation.
What?
So, just to explain really fast for our listeners who might be kind of new. Hit of the week. We call out somebody. You go. You add them to your PSN friends list. Send them messages saying Beyond. Go. But most importantly, go find them in whatever.
We're gonna say something else.
Go bring them up. So dangerously close.
Oh, jeez.
Message them, tell them to
Holy
go F
frack.
themselves.
Yeah.
Holy
but
frack.
most importantly, go find out whatever games they're playing online and shoot them in the face.
Yes.
Basically,
them hard.
basically, you get into the game and then focus all of your bullets and all of your whatever on that guy's face.
Frack them.
That's right. The whole of your rage goes
Yeah.
right into their face.
I have a potential one if you want.
Oh, I've got one here, but what do you
Oh,
have?
okay. Well, I was just going to see that this nice guy wrote in saying that he was a big fan of the show. He wrote in personally to me, so it didn't go to everybody.
I see
He
how
included
it
his
is.
PSN
Oh, man.
name.
I see. That means okay.
All right, do you know? He doesn't have to be it.
Well,
No, continue. Man.
I'm just calling out his
wanna know what the nice guy
his
said.
tag for the email is spirited, but his PSN ID is so spirited, S-O spirited, all
How
in one
spirited?
word. Very so spirited.
there you go. The guy I was actually going to give the proper hit of the week to, so we'll do a double.
Yeah, we can do
is,
that. Double
this
hit.
Guy Patrick writes in. He says Beyond.
It's a double shot.
Yeah, double shout out.
Oh.
He says he's a new member to the
So
PS3
good.
fold, and we'd like to be hit of the week to get some friends on there. I figured, yeah, good. His PSN name is Dr. Thane, but it's spelled differently. It's Dr. Well, it's okay. So
It's all is it written out?
yeah,
Doctor?
no,
Dr.
it's
Tran.
Drthene. So Dr. Thene basically is how it's pronounced, but Drthene. So there we go. 2 hits of the week.
Double shot confirmed.
There you go.
Yes. He's going to have plenty of friends now. Bang.
We should totally do the sound effects for games. Could you imagine in like Halo 4, like Master Chief gets out and he's like, "Time to take it to the Covenant." Pew pew pew.
Holy crap. So this reminds me of a story about, I want to say it's like 3 years ago when Ivan Sulik was still here and he was playing, I believe it was Star Wars Battlefront 2. And he's playing right in our little area there, and he's got he's playing voices, and voices are coming out of the TV. And there was some kid who was playing it, and every time the kid fired was going pew pew pew, and so every time he shot, you just listening to Ivan playing this thing, and the kid on the other side was going pew 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 pew. The match was like half an hour long. It was amazing.
Did he eventually kill himself?
Yeah, I want to start a trend of that. So
God.
here's the new thing: when you go find the hit of the week and you start shooting them,
You gotta
just keep
keep
going pew pew pew
That's-
pew every time you shoot
See,
them.
that's how they'll know. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's how
Perfect.
that's how they know they're being shot
It's like
at by
friendly
somebody
fire.
from yeah.
Friendly lethal fire.
There you go.
Exactly.
That just
Let's-
reminds me of the NHL 3
I
on
will
3.
shoot you in the face.
Yeah, let's do a
Sound
quick
effects are-
around the room, find out what people are playing. Sam, what do you got going on?
Resistance Retribution right now.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, it is very good, actually. Yeah. I'm only about, I don't know, half, third the way through the game.
I just got a box copy today, so I'll be playing it very soon.
Sweet. We'll play together.
Yeah, Ryan, what are you playing?
Tenchu for the PSP, who was playing that recently, also working through Killzone because I haven't had a chance to beat the single player yet.
There you go.
Really like it.
Jeff,
yeah.
Jeff, what do you got going on?
Slowly getting into Street Fighter. Been playing some Hammer and Hero, which is freaking
Isn't that
awesome.
I told you, man. That game is great.
Tish, isn't it?
Yep.
And gonna get into Red Alert Uprising.
There we go. I've been playing some Guitar Hero Metallica.
Yeah.
Great fun. I'm a big fan of the band, so that helps a whole lot. And I
Did you
just,
get to
didn't
see
show up
them, by
yesterday.
the way?
No,
at all,
they
or-
didn't show
Oh,
up.
okay.
They were busy.
and I just reviewed Trivial Pursuit. That's actually very fun. You probably didn't read the review because people probably didn't think it was
'Cause it
whatever.
was Trivial Pursuit.
But yeah, but I mean, Trivial Pursuit is actually a really good port of the
Yeah,
of
it
the
seemed
board
like
game, I
they,
guess.
they really didn't mess around with it. Like, it was like a decent presentation. They didn't screw. I just thought it would be like a total.
Yeah, wait. Trivial Pursuit, I think, was supposed to ship today, which means why wasn't it on the official list of upcoming
'Cause it was
software on all
listed-
3 platforms by the?
Because it was listed as next week.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I think it's actually shipping now, but so there you go. Maybe it's out in stores or not. I mean, if you like
So
board
you
games,
might be able to go get it.
you might
Yes,
go
you
get
might.
it. If you like board games, then check it out. So there we go. I think we're pretty much towards the end of the show. You have tournament winners from Beast.
I do. Beast 76. It's actually all Killzone related, which is neat. Definitely taking over the boards. There was a great match between Greg's clan of IGN Beyond and the PS3 lobby, thing that Beast helps run, which is Hellgast Serious Business, which I love that name. It was a tough match. Beast had a really hard time shooting Greg, but eventually. The Hellgas Serious Business won 5-2, and they also took on the other lobby clan, which is IGN-Orance or Ignorance, and Hellgas Serious Business also won 6-1 in that. MVPs were Red 7 Ring and the Noobinator again.
Returning victor.
Thank you, Beast.
The Beast returns. So there we go. I think that pretty much just brings us to the end of the show.
Indeed.
We were at the beginning of the show when we were doing the mic check. We did a little riffing.
It totally just burst into song.
It came out there.
Impromptu.
It was a little impromptu.
Magic.
We're gonna redo it again. Hopefully this goes quite well. This is a little. What's that, Ryan? What are you doing?
I was gonna say, do you want me to start the rhythm with a little one of those cymbal counts?
Yeah. We'll do that.
Okay.
So this is a little. It's a little.
Give yourself more room.
It's a little homage, or to say, to Fran Miller-Bell III.
Yep.
The Fran
He's a great guy.
If you know Fran, you know he has some interesting personality. So this is interesting things that he likes to say. So this one goes out to Fran.
Oh.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Ooh, nice. Ooh, nice. Not too shabby. Ooh, nice. Ooh, little habanero. Ooh, nice. Ooh, nice. Ooh, not too shabby. A little habanero. Ooh, nice. Ooh, come on, guys. Ooh, a little habanero. Ooh, nice. Ooh, not too shabby. Ooh, not too shabby. Ooh, little habanero.